Welcome to another episode of Strategic Minds Making Money Moves. I am so excited today because we take those strategies to do what? Make that green. I have an awesome guest today, and we're going to talk about some of the challenges that we have gone through, how we have leveraged COVID to help us to move forward, how we look at different directions, what that looks like, etc. So I'm excited to have my guest with me today. And would you please introduce your company and tell us all about what you do, Shanna Stevenson?
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Shanna Stevenson. I actually am the owner of a travel agency called Trip with Shan, and I'm also a professional recruiter.
Okay. All right. So in terms of your business and what you do, and who you service, what is it that you really want to focus on today to take it to the next level?
Well, I literally coined myself the ultimate mompreneur. So I call my son new. He's almost 2, but I still feel like I'm a new mom. So I'm a mompreneur. Literally, I kind of have my hands in a little bit of everything. But my passion and what I really love to do is help people. So I'm able to do that through my travel business. And then I also really, during COVID, I noticed that there was a major need for employment and employment opportunities. So companies need employees need work. So I had started to kind of pivot my business into becoming more of like a professional recruiter for people.
Okay. So as you were pivoting your business to become a professional recruiter, did you look at certain industries? Were you looking at certain levels? Tell me a little bit about what that aspiration was.
Well, I had been a professional recruiter probably about 7 years ago. I actually was a recruiter, and that's where I gained my love. One of my college roommates had started a job post graduating, and she called me up one day. She's like, Shanna, I know you've always been in sales. I know you love sales, but I really have an opportunity that I think you'll do really well at, and you should give it a try. I said, well, what are you talking about? She said, well, I'm a recruiter. I said, okay. So I did. I took a chance. I interviewed, got the position. There, I developed a huge love for helping people out. And I made a lot of relationships with the people that I helped out. To this day, I still have some of those relationships.
So what did you pivot to from there?
Well, from there, recruiting is one of those things that you definitely can get in there, grind it out, and burn yourself out pretty easily. It's a tough job. So after doing well, I hit several different levels, made really good money. I just kind of burnt myself out, I'll be honest, and I decided, okay, I just want to take a little bit of a break. Well, my break, which was supposed to be about 4 to 6 months, ended up turning into a 5-year break in the Dominican Republic. I left to go just take a little vacation, and I ended up getting there and loving it. And literally, I fell in love with my husband. I met my husband, ended up meeting my husband there. But so that
Wow. And nothing like personal life and all of that making us pivot, because we all recognize what that can do, especially when we're talking about different countries and we're talking about different things to move forward.
Well, there's a lot more to that story, but we'll save that for another episode.
Oh, okay. All right. But now that you're into recruiting and you're trying to expand, one of the things that we have is a talent war, right?
Yes.
I have a talent war because people are looking to do things differently since COVID.
Absolutely.
Prior to COVID, you could have gone to your boss and said, I want to work remote. And they were like, I'll see you in the business tomorrow.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Be in your seat at your desk, and it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Once we proved that remote could work, and then people are like, well, I don't want to go back to the office.
Mm-hmm.
I've proven that I can do my job remotely.
Right.
Can't I stay remote? Why do I have to come into the office? And there's multiple schools of thought. Some people prefer to be in the office because they prefer to be around other people.
Mm-hmm.
It gives them energy.
Mm-hmm.
They prefer to work that way.
Mm-hmm.
So COVID was very hard for them.
Mm-hmm.
There are others that are saying, I love the remote work. I don't ever want to go back to an office, and I'm doing just fine doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But the businesses are like, there's something about that face-to-face, not
Absolutely.
just screen to screen, but something about that face-to-face.
Yes.
So they've come up more with this hybrid model. Okay, so you can work remote, a couple days a week, 3 days a week you got to be on site, or whatever it may be. How are you looking at that perspective as it relates to your business today?
So you're absolutely right. Everything that you just said is what I'm seeing right now in recruiting. Everybody wants that work from home, that remote work, that virtual position. And it's really hard because a lot of the positions, depending on what industry I'm focusing on for the day, they want people to come in. They want that hands-on, like you said, not screen to screen. They want face-to-face, whether it's therapy or instruction, they want that face-to-face physical attention. And so it is something that I had thought about, was possibly just creating an agency that would allow just completely remote opportunities, just virtual remote opportunities, because there's so much demand for that right now. And like you said, COVID has proven that it can be done.
So that means that our strategy has to be on focusing on companies that allow remote to be the way.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you have no business, right?
That's
Right.
correct,
People
yeah.
can want it, but if companies don't want to give it, then we don't have a match there.
Correct.
Right.
And
And
that's that is the problem.
tell me more about that.
Yeah, the problem is there's a lot more demand for those remote opportunities than there are companies that really want that. So you're right on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think what that means is as we begin to think about strategically, how do we get around that? Part of it is your ability to influence,
Mhm.
right? And so, as we begin to talk about influence and making a change and making a difference, we have to be able to talk to our clients about the impacts and what
Okay.
that means in making those decisions. So, we're going to take a station break. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about
Awesome.
that power of influence.
Excellent.
We'll be right back.
Strategic Minds, Making Money Moves with Vicki Wright Hamilton focuses on helping entrepreneurs to overcome their business challenges to help increase their bottom line. Each episode provides strategies for growth and transformation. Watch Vicki share her 20-plus years of experience as a corporate executive to help entrepreneurs level up.
Welcome back. So, we're talking about the challenges that we're having, with the talent. And one of the things that I was thinking about, and this is why we have the Great Resignation, where people are, in a minute, I'm dissatisfied with the culture. I'm dissatisfied with my ability to move up the ladder. I'm dissatisfied with the fact that, I don't feel appreciated, listened to, etc.
Right.
The story goes on.
Mhm.
So if you decide, and if you really want to focus on a business that says, look, I'm going to look at remote only. I'm going after companies that actually value that.
Mhm.
First of all, we have to understand how many companies are out that, and that are about that, and if you're in a particular industry. Now, if you're recruiting for a particular industry, are you focused in a particular area?
So I have my experience has mostly been in education recruiting, but I love hospitality. One that I haven't been into as much as tech, but I would love to get into sort of tech recruiting, and administrative recruiting is something that I'm also very familiar with.
Okay, so you want to do a multi functional recruiting as you move
Yes.
forward.
Yeah.
And that's good because it allows you to open up more doors. But all that research of those companies that are willing to have remote is going to be critical so you understand the size of your market base that you can actually go to recruit
Right.
in terms of moving forward. And then getting to know them.
Yes. Agreed.
And a lot of times people say, oh, I'm going to the top. I'm going to go to the top of the company. I want to talk to the president. I want to talk to so-and-so. But sometimes your biggest influencers can be in the middle of the organization, not necessarily at the top.
You're right.
They're the ones that can tell you what's really going in the organization, who really runs the organization. Because just because I'm the president doesn't mean I really am the one who's running it. Sometimes it can be their executive assistant who really runs it, right?
Yeah,
And
we call them the gatekeeper.
There you go.
We do.
There you go. There you go. So, understanding the culture of inside these organizations is going to be really important for you.
Okay.
Because you're going to have to speak their language.
Sure.
If you are not willing to do remote work, the cost to you is X, right? It has a direct impact to your bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
The impact to you of how long it's going to take you to find a position, there's a cost to that too. right?
Yeah.
And the longer a position goes unfilled is the longer time it takes you to speed up whatever it is that you're trying to recruit that person for in the first place.
Yes.
So when we really think about it, it's about dollars and cents, right?
Yep.
In terms of moving forward.
You're right.
But I think the point that people underestimate, dollars and cents is a known one. We all can see that. We can see the money go. But the cultural impact is huge. Because if people that are even working on the inside recognize that you're so closed-minded, that you're not willing to bend, you're not willing to be flexible, you don't want to do it, then they begin to feel like, if I needed to do this, I couldn't, right? So let me go find somewhere else that will. And so I think that's why more and more of the hybrid model is coming up. But, there are still some individuals that I don't want the hybrid either. So you have to determine strategically your strategy of if I'm going to go full remote, if I'm going to go half remote, and of a hybrid model, half remote, half on site, so that I can get talent to actually fulfill my clients' needs.
Right.
I was reading an article the other day, and I believe it was in the New York Times, but they were talking about the number of companies that have stayed remote, the percentage. And I think it was, there's 56% of the companies that have stayed remote. There's 53% of the companies that are going hybrid. And there's 32% that are requiring you to come inside, right, to the company. And so the challenge is that as we begin to look at this and we begin to look at what those dynamics mean, today they may not make the decision to convert. But after so long, and they're beginning to look at cost impacts, tomorrow they may look at things differently.
Right. Yeah.
Your power of influence of showing the quality of the candidates you have is what's going to be key. Right?
Agreed.
Especially when it's more in that industry.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's one thing to have the functional skills. It's another thing to have the industry experience with the functional skills, right? Because then I have to teach you less about the business, right? There's less about the business I'm having to give to you in order for you to understand of bringing that value at the end of the day. Because we all know, and you probably know better than anybody, you hire someone today, it might be 3 to 6 months before they actually give you ROI. Because everybody got to learn what's your process, what's your way, how do you do things, etc. But if I come in understanding the business and I come in understanding the industry, I now know enough to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, what the business is trying to target, what their strategic initiatives are, what the market penetration is, and why a business would want to do this, that at least it helps me in terms of, in terms of moving forward.
Yes.
So I do think you want to kind of look at that as you're beginning to target that.
No, that's great advice. I think that a hybrid model, being able to pull from here, people who want to only work from home, and having the ability to service people or clients that want people to come in, I think that's probably the best of both worlds and would probably serve me best.
Okay. Well, as long as you are open to that, then you can build your strategic model to take that, into account as you're moving forward, and using those the cultural impact, using the financial impacts for those influence areas where you need to influence how things are, actually happening. And what I found is that as a recruiter, some of the best ways to find those organizations, find out how many job openings do they have and how much are they trying to recruit for, right? Right? Because sometimes they don't always want to go to an external recruiter, let's face it.
It's true.
I want to have my own internal recruiters look at this.
Yes.
But we have internal recruiters that are looking for 100 jobs. There ain't no way on God's green earth they're going to get 100 jobs filled in the time period they need to have to fill them. Because the moment that they interview somebody, they got to get back to them within 24 to 48 hours or they lose
Or
them.
they're gone. Absolutely.
Right?
Did you do this
so-
before? I mean,
Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. We're going to take a station break. We'll be right back.
Strategic Minds, Making Money Moves with Vicki Wright Hamilton focuses on helping entrepreneurs to overcome their business challenges to help increase their bottom line. Each episode provides strategies for growth and transformation. Watch Vicki share her 20-plus years of experience as a corporate executive to help entrepreneurs level up.
Welcome back. So you asked me if I've done this before. Look, I've been on the recipient side of this and then have watched many of my clients in my own business struggle with this.
Okay.
And the challenge is that, you know, as I said, they'll have their recruiting departments, which is great, and they have internals. But there's so many job recs that are out there, and the opportunity for them to fill them all is hard.
It's hard, yeah.
So maybe you want to think about offering a concierge service for recruiting. Well, let's talk about what that might look
I like that word.
So it might be that you have your internal recruiting staff, but you need people who can come in and follow up with those people and keep them engaged and keep them warm and talk to them and let them know what's happening. So we as a full service recruiting firm also offer an opportunity to give that concierge service to those clients to let them know, you know, the communication, to keep up with them, to keep going, because your recruiters are trying to get the next person. It is very difficult to do things in a time effective way unless you have the resources to help you. So they may not let you recruit. They may not let you, you know, to be an external source, but that doesn't mean you can't make money. Because understanding that customer service and understanding that ability to stay in touch and how fast we lose clients when we don't is another opportunity for you to say, here's another revenue stream, right? It still stays within your recruiting, but it gives you another avenue to approach them.
You're right.
Right? So you want the full thing to begin with, right? I want to get the recruiting. I want to be able to do it all. Oh, well, we can't do that. We have our own recruiters. Okay, so I have another offering that I do that I help to keep people engaged so you don't lose them, right? So you don't lose the talent in terms of moving forward.
Yes.
And another way to do that is that when you offer that opportunity is to have a software, some kind of technical software that allows them to put their information in, like I like this candidate, so that you just have something to feed back to the client and or to the candidate to keep them warm, right?
Are you talking like a CRM or
like a CRM software or portal, or even a CRM portal where your clients that you're recruiting for can put comments and information in? Because let's face it, the hardest thing is communication, right? So if I'm a recruiter and I'm recruiting for a job and I have this position for you and this is a position you want, I got to find you, I got to get your feedback, I got to understand what you like, what you didn't like, etc. If you as a third party could come in and say, look, I'm going to help you fill that gap, and all the person has to do is after their interview is go into this portal and enter their information. That's all they got to do.
And that's that. Yeah.
And then it's done. I don't have to search you down. I don't have to look for you out. We don't have to pay email tag.
Right.
We don't have to send emails back and forth, etc. So it allows you an opportunity to stay ahead of the curve and give them value back.
I love that. I love
So
that.
it's another opportunity.
Very, very smart.
So let's see if we have a question or comment from the audience.
So my name is Erica Chisholm, and I am the owner of EL Creative LLC, which is a fine arts business. And I was wondering about your recruiting business. How do you find your clients, or how do they find you? How do the talent find you? Like, if they want to get a job?
That's a great question. Right now, in the times that we're in, you know, everything is social media driven. So you got to get creative with recruiting because there's so many of them out there. So you really have to find either your niche or just get very creatively thinking outside of the box. So right now we do a lot of recruiting via LinkedIn, Indeed. I've gone so far as to like tweet people for jobs. So, I mean, it's just a matter of how in there you want to get with it. I mean, if you have a requisition that's really difficult to fill, you got to get even more creative. So, but I think the beginner method or the normal methods are just you either have like a system that has a lot of candidates in there, or you go out there to the internets and you look for them that way. Thank you.
And to that point, you know, one of the things that you know, we talk about looking for a special niche. There's nothing wrong with going to functional associations, right? And they may not be interested, but they may know somebody who is because they're in their circle.
Yes.
Right? They're in their circle.
Yes.
They know what they're doing.
Yep.
So taking the opportunity for placing ads with them is critical because that's a target audience. Being able to show them the result of what they're going to get, right? So if I'm going to talk to you about a position, let me show you some things about this of what it looks like.
Yeah.
You know, everything visual today. Everybody wants a visual. Everybody wants video. They want it quick. We all have ADD. We just all have ADD. Nobody can, we just don't have time.
Instant gratification.
And that's it. But we have instant gratification because there's no time, right? And our time is so valuable, and we've been able to get things instantly. We've trained ourselves that way. So the deal is I want to know what that job is, what it offers, what it pays, what's the culture like, what does it look like? Well, if I'm trying to do a placement for a particular client and I understand that culture, wouldn't it be great to do a video and say, wouldn't you love to work for a culture that looks like this? Wouldn't you like to be involved with these kinds of things, showing what that business is doing, showing what that culture is doing? Because action speaks a whole lot more than words. I can tell you that's what it looks like. I can tell you who this company is, but if I show you, it's different.
You're right.
So going to your clients and ask them, look, I like a video of what we do here. I want to videotape this. I want to show what they're doing because I want to use that as our competitive advantage to get the right talent.
I love that idea.
Right?
That's so
and
good.
so that's another avenue that allows you to be different than the rest, stand out, but also get that, also get those people that you're looking for as you're continuing to move forward. So I think that as you begin to put this strategy out and making sure that not only are you visible on social media, but your social media is pertinent. And if you know that there's certain issues that a particular job function is dealing with, address those issues. If you know that, engineering is dealing with the challenge of there's not enough design engineering, and you've got clients that can do design engineering, say, look, you said you want to be a design engineer. Let's talk about how you can do that, right? And being able to draw them in. So it's really all about that target marketing. Right. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. Can you all join me in thanking my guests today? Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Strategic Minds Making Money Moves, where we bring those strategies to make that green. See you next time.